So yesterday we have went through about software development lifecycle, different SDLC models that we have, and we mainly focused on waterfall model and agile model. So waterfall model is a linear step-by-step process of developing a software where each step involves a certain amount of time and others gets wait, due to which the process get delayed, and it is not very supportive for a requirement where it has a dynamic requirement changes, which means if your requirements are frequently changing on the application or development, then waterfall model is not recommended. Okay, so that is where waterfall model falls in. We have agile model. Agile has two different types, basically. So agile is preferably used for iterative development, where your requirement keeps on changing, and your development should not stop, and it is a cyclic process where each bit of development happens in small iterations called sprints. Okay, so where whenever you have dynamic changes in the requirements, or when your requirements change based on the feedbacks, or based on the market strategies, business models, at the time you go for agile, which is preferably used by most of the companies. So in agile we have two things. One is Scrum, other one is Kanban. We do have lean model, extreme programming, feature driven development, test driven development. We have a lot of things there, but we mainly focus on Scrum and Kanban, where most of the companies uses. So Scrum is again, we the difference between Scrum and Kanban is when you prefer a kind of development model, like where core development happens, or your requirements keep on changing, and you are not your product is not completely finished yet. So during that process, during the initial and development phase of software application, so we go for a Scrum. So Scrum has three different roles, sorry, three different roles, artifacts and events. So roles has product owner, Scrum master and development team. Artifacts are product backlog, which I have shown yesterday, that a group of requirements you collect and give a priority and keep together. This is where you call it as product backlog, where entire requirements or features kept under one place, and you create a sprint. In the sprint you just add the requirement product backlog items. So once after completing the sprint, you have allocated some tasks to that sprint, and after completing the sprint, you see how many have been completed, how many have been still available, and you take those backlog items which are pending in the sprint, which we call it as sprint backlog, right? Where is it? Sprint backlog. So post that, again you create one more sprint. You add this sprint backlog and add few more tasks based on the bandwidth of the other engineers to the existing tasks, and you continue with the sprint. So your product backlog keeps on adding based on the requirements and client's business model. Product owner gives that, and during the sprint, Scrum master allocates the Scrum master, the developer leads, managers will sit together and assign the task to the sprint during the sprint, and they will assign the user stories. Okay, so and user stories will have points, which we call it as time duration. Okay, this time duration is bit controversial. So some people take 1 day 1 hour as 01, and 1 day as 01 again. That's a bit controversial, but it is very specific to project. So Scrum master will decide that based on how many points. Let's say if I have a task to be performed for over 10 days, which is Nexus upgrade, something like that, which takes some good amount of 10 days time. At the time what you do is you mainly give it as 10 days. Some people give it as 10. Again it is based on the epics user story, task, subtask. So again they will do that analysis. We don't do that. I'm just giving a sneak peek of what those are. And then we have where is it we have different events. Sprint planning, which happens every 2 weeks based on the duration. It could last from 1 week to 4 weeks, so ideally the correct time duration would be 2 weeks. Ideal situation would be 2 weeks sprint model. And we have daily stand up 10 to 15 minutes max based on the team. Based on the team, the time duration changes. And so this scrum planning or stand up call would be lasting from 15 minutes to 30 minutes sometimes. And we discuss blocker items and all during that time, and what we have done from yesterday and what we are planning to do today. And we have sprint review, where we are going to discuss during the sprint planning, and after completing the sprint planning we give a sprint review. It can happen vice versa also, like it's whenever you have a sprint call, you start with what went right, what went wrong in the previous sprint, and how you are going to uh, uh, overcome the flaws that happened in the last week. So we will discuss that, and scrum master can put his ideas how to be more efficient. Okay, so that sprint review meeting will happen, which we call it as a retrospective. Okay, so then we have sprint iteration, where we create a new sprint and proceed further. That's about the agile model. In agile we have scrum. So under we use Jira most of the times, and I've showed you yesterday the epic comes as a bigger picture. Under epic we will create a we'll create stories under epic, where we divide that big requirement into bits and pieces, and user story can be divided into task and subtask. And whenever there is an issue on the task or subtask, we create a bug. Okay, so coming to kanban. So kanban is something that is used for this is a model where your project is completely finished, or it is to the most proper development has been completed, and it is in the maintenance mode. Means you just have to maintain, and there is no bigger new features is not coming. You have to just maintain and upgrade the existing services or applications that you are running. So during that particular process, you go for kanban. Kanban is most of the times we use it for um, maintenance model projects. Okay, which is already developed and there is no new requirements coming in. You just have to maintain the existing one, do the patches, do the upgrades of the existing services, support the team. So it is in the maintenance mode. Okay, upgrades to the existing things, and then there is no big development is not happening. You go for kanban. Kanban is unlike scrum, kanban does not fix length. We don't have sprint model here. Okay, so kanban will not have sprints, like it is a continuous process. uh, so the reason why I am telling scrum and kanban is we use both combination of agile and scrum on the real time most of the times. So the companies that I worked in my previous org, and out of my experience I have seen most of the times most of the projects use both scrum and kanban, because maintenance is something that see, any application will not go finished at any point of time, because new features comes into picture, new business model comes into picture, and this development is a continuous process. I see only when legacy application comes in only those are in maintenance mode. But again, it is a question mark, where legacy applications gets upgraded to the newer services, and older one will be terminated at over a period of time. They'll go into sunset mode, something like that. Okay, so kanban does not have fixed length of predefined time. Like in sprint we have 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, like where you connect back after 2 weeks and talk about what went right, what went wrong and all. It will not be there in this. When you have a proper kanban board, you don't be having that. Every day you will be having a daily stand up call, where you discuss about tickets that you got, okay, from the developers. in the above scenario, we have only created those tickets, right? This is the same process exactly that goes in real time also. There is no deviation in that. Here and there small things might change based on the teams or proper based on the scrum master and product development, but most of the times DevOps will be very much similar. Okay, so you, when you have a scrum model in a DevOps, so it goes like this only. You have to create either your lead or developer, sorry, your lead or your the scrum master will create these tickets. Most of the times it is us only, we only create our tickets and we only assign it to ourselves and we only work on that most of the times when you have a scrum model, because only we know what we have to upgrade to the existing systems. Okay, infrastructure upgrade, the tools upgrade, tools backup, all these things we only do. So we only know what we have to do. So most of the times we only create and we only work until unless roadmap items comes into picture. This epics is created by the lead. Okay, lead or manager. And Kanban tickets we get it from the developers, testing team, database team, or any team that consumes our DevOps ecosystem. They will create on behalf of the issue. Okay, they will, let's say they wanted to do some deployment, they will create a promotion request or deployment request, where they will say that this particular service and particular version and particular namespace should be deployed on the cluster. So version details, everything will be mentioned in the Jira ticket. Okay, let me show you. So the process would be very much similar. Okay, to do blocked, in progress, review, done, but you won't see this is Kanban board. Okay, see, you don't have the sprint things and all, product backlog and all, you don't have it. Okay, you will not be creating that product backlog and all. Okay, yes, you can have roadmap items, that's a different story. To the existing process you can actually create, but most of the times Kanban board tickets will be coming from the developers. There is request, there will be predefined templates on the Kanban board, where you can create one promotion request type tickets, where you can keep mandatory columns that they wanted to provide, like cluster name, service name, version, namespace, uh, on which labels they have to deploy. All those things will be defined by the developer. We get the ticket, we work on it. Okay, so in the previous agile model, most of the times we will be creating those tickets because we know what we are upgrading on the DevOps ecosystem. In Kanban board, we get tickets from the developers or whoever consumes our DevOps ecosystem. They will create tickets like support ticket. Let's say some development environment, one service is not getting deployed, or there is some issue with the build, or there is some issue with the pipeline. Jenkins is not working, Jenkins is too slow, or SonarQube is not working. So those kind of support tickets we get it into this. So if you see here, we don't have any tickets like that, but let me create one. Let's say I have a build issue. Let me see if recording is happening. Yes, sorry. Okay, so like this it could be anything, task or epic. You don't have user stories and all. Okay, so yeah, you can see it is not limited, but you can actually modify this Kanban template also according to your requirement. But on a high level, this is how exactly will be there. Let's say I am a developer and I have some build issue on the pipeline, Jenkins pipeline. Okay, they will create something like build failing due to dependency missing. Okay, they'll create this and they'll give the URL, Jenkins URL, which failed, and error message, and they are going to create the ticket. Okay, if they wanted to give labels and all, if we have defined labels, they'll give all those things. And if we have something like epic created for which like build issues, then they can attach that, or else they'll directly create this. Okay, so I have one ticket. If you go to board, you'll be having this to do one. Like this we'll be getting daily tickets, and it is going to get automatic in the daily stand up. Your lead or the scrum master will start assigning the tickets based on the bandwidth of the engineer. Okay, so scrum kanban board build failing, let's say promotion request or deployment, you can call it as. Deployment is very plain term where everyone can understand, but promotion request is something that people uses in real time. Promotion request to promotion promote sorry promote online bookstore app to staging and prod. Okay, I'm going to create this ticket. It has been created. If you see here, it's been created. And what happens is in the automatic deployment, the one that we have done in my experience, so whenever a Jira request is raised, it is automated in such a way that whenever a particular type of request, okay, let's say promotion request, so we have defined the templates, different templates. So if developer starts creating a promotion request, and he creates all the he creates with details with all the details, so there is one particular job which is going to get triggered automatically. So it will be keep on checking if any new ticket is coming in. If whenever it finds the new ticket is created, automatically it starts building the code. It's all written in Python, so it starts getting the values. Okay, so it will go inside it, and it will take all the labels, details, everything we will be defined, like labels, a service type, service name, version, namespace, all the details will be given by the developer. So it is automated in such a way that it takes all the details from the Jira. So there is a Python code written for that to pull the details in the JSON format, and and filter those values, labels and all, and it is passed to the next job as a built with parameters. So it is going to pass to the next job, where it is going to start pushing the image from development account to staging account in AWS, and to the ECR where we keep the images. From there it is going to take and deploy it on the EKS cluster using Helm charts. Okay, so that level of automation is done, and once it goes for deployment on staging, automatically sanity jobs gets triggered. Once sanity is green, successful, it will send an automatic request to the service owner. Okay, service manager or service owner who is managing that particular application. He will take care of approving whether it should approve or not. He will take care. So he'll get an email with the button approve or deny. So if approves, automatically next job gets triggered to deploy it into the production. So there is no manual intervention. So that is where we have done continuous deployment using multiple scripts. Okay, so this can be done something like that, but Argo CD almost resolves this complete automation issue. Argo CD, whenever you upgrade your image and you update it in the YAML file, you don't need to wait to create the scripts and all. So automatically Argo CD will pull the latest image and deploy it. So Argo CD service will be running on each cluster. It will be checking whether version is upgraded or not on the particular file, image file. So if image is upgraded, automatically it will pull and deploy it on the services. So that is about continuous deployment model. The reason why I'm telling is this is one promotion request where you can get a small understanding of that. Okay, so this and then you'll get many other requests like tool Jenkins is slow, build failed, um, and Jenkins is not working properly. Okay, Jenkins is not working, then please add the dependency. So we get a lot of maintenance model request, and we don't have a particular sprints. But in real time we use both combination of kanban and devops, because devops deals support as well as our internal developments, which enhances the performance of devops ecosystem. Okay, that's the reason why I have kept it as optimizing devops workflow, devops and cloud workflows with scrum and kanban in agile methodologies. I'm going to stop here. Let me know if you have any questions on yesterday's and today's session. Have you gone through the recording, and if you have anything to talk, let me know. Any questions, any doubts? No, I'll take that as a no. Let's proceed further. Okay, so I have to start a new topic, but before starting that, I will walk through what are the things that we are going to do in this model. Okay, so on the build side, on the infrastructure side of on the build CI/CD side, continuous integration and continuous delivery. Okay, so did I tell you about CI/CD completely? Okay, let me reiterate. So continuous integration and continuous delivery is something where you build the code written by the developers, you do the code quality check, and then once the quality gates are passed, you send it for the approve. You send it for uh, holding that artifact into any artifact repository tool, which we call it as Nexus or Artifactory. Okay, so we have a tool called Artifactory, JFrog. Then we have Nexus. We have multiple tools where you can store artifacts. In AWS S3 bucket also you can store. So the process of, see, recently I have seen in one of the interview, can you define the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? So that's the question. So when the panelist wants to particularly check your basic understanding or basic fundamentals, so they will be asking these questions. So can you tell me, in your view, what is your DevOps? What exactly DevOps do? So you can start with traditional things, like initially DevOps was defined to automate the CI/CDs, but then over a period of time it has evolved to have infrastructure monitoring, multiple areas where a particular DevOps engineer can excel his skills on different tools and technologies, like that. Okay, so something like that. So coming to continuous delivery process, the delivery process involves delivering the package or artifact into any server where it stores, where it keeps backup of all your artifacts, which in our case we call it as Nexus. So Nexus is the place where we deliver our artifact for future references, or if something goes wrong on the production side, we can revert easily because we already have a build. So in general, build normally takes more time rather than the one that we show it in the YouTube or wherever you see. It is not going to take 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 1 minute or 10 minutes. Build literally takes sometimes 30 minutes to good 1 hour of time, sometimes if the code is big and our application is big and bigger. Okay, so in such scenarios, you cannot wait for production failure for 1 hour to create a new artifact or older artifact. Okay, so that's the reason why we keep all the artifacts available for us. Whenever something goes wrong, we can easily revert to the previous applications. So artifacts only comes when you build the code. Okay, so that's the high note. Now in this particular scenario, let me put it like this. Okay, so like I said, product owner gets the requirements and gives it to the scrum master. Scrum master, with the sprint planning or uh, the sessions that they go through. So during that sprint planning time, okay, let me put it as sprint planning. So in the sprint planning, they will assign those high priority tickets to the developers. So developers will start writing the code, and he will push the code to GitHub. Okay, now whenever a PR is raised, pull request is raised, you can actually create a notification. Okay, you can send a notification something like this: PR has been created with the PR request, so to one particular channel, where whoever is available, like peer reviews, they will see the code and they will merge the code. Okay, so they will approve it and merge the code. So that is why I have kept it as Slack. We will see if it is possible, but this particular step is not required all the time. But I've kept it for understanding how pull request things works on all. But there is a check. Okay, how can a peer review or a developer lead can know what change will work and what change will not work? He has to have some proof, right, whether it is working or not. So that is where we have multi-branching strategy, multi-branch pipelines, where we set the branching strategy. So based on that, developer lead can see the trigger whenever he pushes the code to a particular branch, feature branch in our case. So we will have one build running for that, and we can see whether it is passed or not, whether it is green or not. So when this particular Slack will get a notification with PR and as well as the build URL, something like this is build URL. So Jenkins URL he will get, so that he can validate whether it is passed or not. Okay, so let's say if it is passed, it is merged uh, to the branch, to the development branch, where we create a snapshot artifact. Okay, so if the branch is development branch, we create a snapshot artifact, publish it into the Nexus repository. Okay, so code comes to GitHub, all the developers pushes their code to GitHub. Once code is pushed here, automatically jobs gets triggered, and Jenkins will invoke Maven commands, which will use SonarQube, Nexus, which will use SonarQube and JUnit test code coverage plugins like Java code coverage or Kobarchura. Okay, let me show you Kobarchura code coverage plugin, or Java code coverage plugin. So it uses any of these plugins, and it will build the code. Okay, it uses and it checks the code quality, whether code is written at the standard best practices. In SonarQube, we have set rules for each language, programming language: Java, Spring Boot, .NET, all those things, based on the rules set by the organization. So they have to follow the standards. If it is not followed, that particular pipeline will break it, will show it as a failure based on the threshold values that we have given. Okay, so in Jenkins we will integrate Jenkins with all other tools: Git, Snyk, SonarQube, Nexus, all JUnit, all these things, including Docker as well. Okay, so we will integrate all these things. First we will install on different servers, and we will integrate Jenkins with all these other tools, and Jenkins will pull the code. It starts building the code using Maven, and it will test the code quality check, whether the code qualities have zero vulnerabilities, zero duplications, code coverage is 100% done. So everything we will check, and if the build is passed and everything is passed in that period, so we will create a Docker image. Okay, we'll create a Docker image, and we have to scan the Docker image as well. Okay, I have to put a check mark scanning as well, since we are talking about DevSecOps. So not only we have, see, security comes in right from code coverage, where we do static code analysis, which is one security application. SonarQube is a code quality check, where it does the static code analysis. First security. Second security is checkmarks. Checkmarks is a static application security tool. So what does it do is, after you get the artifact, it is going to scan the code for any vulnerabilities after building the code, like any cross-site implications, or if you have any SQL related injections where it is vulnerable. So it will find all those things once the code is already built and created a jar file. So we will jar var or er. So whenever you build the Java code, you will get a jar, var or er. We will discuss it little later, but we will scan that as well. Okay, that is also one security tool. Check marks. Okay, check marks. I'll update uh, this particular diagram tomorrow. I'll show you. But check marks is again one tool. Okay, so snic also can help us to scan the code. Instead of SonarQube, we can use only one single tool for code scanning, checkmark scanning. I mean, instead of checkmarks, we can use again snic, and we can use snic for Docker image scanning as well. Anything will work. One single tool for everything. But I just wanted to have because in such scenarios we can actually cover three different tools. SonarQube is must, and snic, yes, it's good to have, and check marks most of the people expect, or at least we can include it in the pipeline so that we can have a stage for that. Okay, so we'll have check mark scanning where we check the artifact. Once the artifact is artifact passes check mark scanning, then only we will create a Docker image. Okay, once Docker image is created, we will scan it with the snic or trivy. Okay, we can use trivy as well. Trivy scan, we can use trivy scan. Okay, to find the image related bugs. Okay, image related bugs, Docker image related bugs. Once the image is security vulnerable free, it does not have any issues, then only we will push this to AWS ECR. Okay, AWS ECR, like how we have elastic container registry, like how we store artifacts and dependencies in Nexus. So this will store ECR will store images, Docker images. Okay, ECR will store Docker images. Now, so you can ask me like, why are we using two different tools? Can't we store it in the Nexus? Yes, Nexus supports that to store images. It has all the capabilities, but it is just that people use. So any tool in DevOps can be used for multiple purposes, but their primary functionality will be different, secondary functionality will be different. So project will choose most of the times primary implications. See, like let's say Terraform is mainly structured for provisioning the infrastructure on various clouds. Ansible also does that. Okay, Ansible also can provision infrastructure. It is just that Ansible is primarily used for configuration management, so we go Terraform with provisioning and Ansible for configuration management itself. Can't we use both tools for single purpose? Yes, we can use single tool for both the purposes. Sorry, vice versa. Single tool for both the purposes, provisioning infra as well as configuration management. But in complex scenarios, those won't be lethal or simple. It will start becoming more complex and complex. So that's why people doesn't choose the secondary, though it supports the secondary use case, they won't use it. Okay, so that is why we are covering three different tools. So that covers the DevSecOps. We have OSAP as well. OSAP, OWSAP, OSAP. So basically this is the application security tool. Again, it's I don't know if it is a SAST tool or DAST tool. Is SAST. It is a DAST, OSAP DAST. I'll see if I can put it in our thing. But okay, SAST and DAST are, SAST application is static application security testing, and DAST is dynamic application security testing. Once you create the artifact, we do those things. One thing should be fine because I worked on checkmarks in previous hour, so I know how checkmarks works. OSAP I will try to see if I can put it in our CI/CD pipeline. It's good to have since we are saying it as a DevSecOps. I'll see. So, but too much things will also get overloaded. So I'll see checkmark should be fine. I don't think OSAP is needed, but if it's needed, I'll just include that as well. Okay. So that's about the CI/CD pipeline. First step of our project is CI/CD pipeline. This project CI/CD, which is going to do code checkout, prepare for release, build, verify, sonar checks, publish to Nexus, then determine the tag for our image, then scan the build the image and scan it for vulnerabilities and push it to ECR. Okay, so in between these things, publish to Nexus and SonarCube, we will have checkmark scanning. So only if checkmarks is passed, then only we will publish it to the Nexus. We will see. I'll create a template for that. Okay, so that's about the first project that we do on first this one. So to do that, we have to learn about Git, first Linux, then Git, then Maven, then we'll go with SonarCube. After that, Jenkins. Last we'll go for the Nexus. These things will cover CI/CD part of it, and we will cover Docker for building the images. Okay, so we'll see Docker basics, fundamentals, Docker networks, volumes, um, Docker file, how to write the file Docker image in an effective way. So we will see custom images, all those things we are going to see in Docker. Till here, this will be CI/CD project. Now infra project will be having two things. One is to create infrastructure for EC2s, okay, 3-tier application. So where you'll be having front end, back end and database. So we are going to deploy one particular 3-tier application on this infrastructure. So I'll try to create one or two environments. I cannot create 4 environments because of the limitations of AWS. So I'll try to create 1 or 2 environments and show you how to do this deployment. Okay, so that will be the second thing. Third will be Kubernetes. So we'll be learning Kubernetes. Okay, so we'll see the fundamentals, basics to mid level, not extreme. Mid level should be good enough. So I'll teach till mid enough, so where you can understand the deployment process, how it works on all with the services architecture, Kubernetes architecture. Once that is done, we are going to deploy the applications using Helm or Argo CD. Okay, I'll try to show Helm first and then Argo CD as well. 3 projects. So one is project CI/CD, the second one is infrastructure pipeline, third one will be deployment. So deployments will be 2 types. One is EC2 deployment and the EKS deployment. Under EKS we'll be having one with Helm charts, one with Argo CD. Okay, so post that we'll be having monitoring. So where I'll show Prometheus and Grafana to monitor your application as well as infrastructure. Both we are going to see, right? So that that thing during the provisioning of infrastructure, we will cover Terraform and Ansible, because everything that we are doing, it will be most of the times it will be through those 2 tools. And where does AWS cloud comes into picture? So once completing the Docker, I'll start AWS. So we will see all the basic services till Lambda, where we are going to cover most of the infrastructure related services like compute system, networking, storage, then IAM, the identity access management, and then we will be seeing the Route 53, the DNS mechanism, load balancers, auto scaling, and notifications, S3, the notifications, CloudWatch, and alarms. We are going to see all those stuff. Okay, so AWS monitoring side, we can see all of those. So that's where cloud comes into picture. Then we are going to start. Once cloud is done, then we will create the infrastructure using Terraform. So I'll give the Terraform sessions, then we will start creating the projects for that as well. Okay, so most of the times I will cover projects on the weekends, because it will take good 1 hour to 1.5 to 2 hours sometimes, based on the different steps. So I'll see if I can break it into 2 different sessions and try, or if I feel that continuity is missing, then I'll put it in the same session. During that times, please be patient on those weekends. Let's try to have it proper real-time scenarios. I wanted to build something like that, then only you guys can understand. Okay, so that is the whole course criteria. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the Linux, very basic Linux, and we will see if we can wrap it up this week. We'll complete Linux, and we'll switch to next topic in the next sessions. Okay, so that's about it, and this will be same, but on a high level, these are the tools that we use for completing our projects or CI/CD project. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I will stop here. So if you have any questions, do let me know, or else we can connect back tomorrow.